No.
Snap.
That's okay. Fix that. Drop in camera. There we go. All right.
Awkward.
Right? Yeah. Hold on just a tad. All right. Hi, welcome back to Unique Minds of the Okanagan. I'm Rob O'Day and we're on location in Penticton with Delayne Corbett, an extremely talented sculptor, carver, man of all trades. How are you doing?
I'm great. Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to hear your story. So let's hop right in. Where are you from?
Yeah.
How did you get into carving, sculpting, and being an artist? And let's hear it.
Sure. I was born in Nelson, but my parents are from Edmonton, Alberta. And that's pretty much where I started carving in Calgary. Basically, when I was 19 years old, I just picked up a hammer and chisel and made an incense holder. And a friend liked it, and so I made another one. And then the lady I was dating at the time, she said, "Oh, you like this carving so much, why don't you try soapstone?" And as luck would have it, just a couple blocks away was a small lapidary shop. And they had little stone blocks and chisels and files and a little instruction booklet. And so I bought one and just started whittling away. And I just kept on doing it. I just enjoyed it so much, making little pendants and candle holders and such like that. And I just fell in love with it and didn't stop and said yes to pretty much every opportunity that came my way.
That's wicked. It's like sculpting and like the lapidary stuff, like getting into, so they don't have a lot of those anymore. They have small sections of them that you can go. There's one in Kelowna, and I think there's one here, I believe. Is there not?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I find that that's cool that that's how you were introduced into, you started carving and then you just kind of went to.
Yeah, I started going big.
Yeah.
the small stuff, it was small and detailed, but I wanted to do larger and larger things, and so I stepped away from lapidary and just started basic sculpture, and so it basically consumed me.
That's such a cool concept of how to get into it. What was it that really made you gravitate towards sculpting, carving, and like what I like to call the subtractive artwork, where you're taking things away and you have to have a whole different mentality to step into that?
Yes. I would say I trained myself to do it as I went. It was, just years and years of practice. I wouldn't say I had a general knack of it or I didn't know, but I just enjoyed working with my hands, and that's the main thing. Is I just enjoy doing things and making things and being creative. I loved it so much that stone was an ideal medium for that.
Stone is I find it entertaining that you went to stone. Like I was a carpenter and did woodworking, and and it's definitely fun. And you have to have a skill set, but when you start stepping into stone is where I always got intimidated, because it's just another level of, if you make a mistake, you're making a mistake kind of a thing. As where painting, it's like you can cover over it. Like,
yeah, but the lesson I learned is that there are no mistakes. There's happy accidents, right? Yes, you make a mistake, but then you have to adapt to it, right? And so, yes, I made the mistake, so I have to shrink the head. If I have to shrink the head, I have to shrink the whole body. So, yes, you can make mistakes, but then you can always fix your mistakes just by slightly adjusting. And also with mistakes, some people don't even notice them, right?
Yeah.
They could, just like they could be happy accidents. The nose fell off, and some people won't even notice if the nose is a little smaller. Adapting to the medium is a big lesson that I learned, because every medium is different. When I was about 30, that's when I started carving ice and snow. I joined the Alberta Sculptors Association and took some workshops with them and learned how to use a chainsaw on ice. And and working with snow, which was plentiful there, right? And so it's almost a free medium, you know, and you just got to put in the muscle, put in the legwork to get it up into a form. And so with those different types of mediums, you learn different physics, and you also learn to adapt to what kind of unique characteristics that each medium has.
Do you find it an easy transition going from wood to stone to sand and like snow, or is there different techniques that do transcend over, but you have to be more delicate in specific ones? Or like, obviously with snow and sand, it's a lot softer than stone and wood, but I feel like that would be almost more hard, like more difficult to do sand and stone than a solid thing because it crumbles.
Yes, well, stone also does crumble too if you hit it the wrong way. In fact, it is strong, but it's also very brittle. So if you just tap it the right way, you can crack your whole piece. Where sand or snow, you know, the odds of you smashing a whole piece are limited unless you undermine the whole thing. With ice and snow, they're both additive and subtractive. So you can create a block, or you have a block of ice, you can cut pieces off and then refuse them together to like a Lego kind of thing, right? Same thing with snow, you can cut blocks off and then you can stack them. Both of those medium have elastic strength, so you can do long overhangs without the risk of falling down. You can do that with stone as well too, but you can't do that in sand because the physics aren't there. Sand has it's got compaction strength, but it doesn't have elastic strength. And then with wood, you can pretty much do anything with it, right? You can add additive, subtractive. Stone is mostly subtractive. You can do some additive. You can laminate pieces.
Okay.
You can also, pour epoxy into them and like brickwork, like stonework.
Yeah.
You can also assemble as well too.
There's so much to it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's when you start to break it down into the artistic form that it actually is, it's quite mind-blowing. And just like you were saying, you have to understand physics, as where like music you don't. You just have to understand
math,
and you have to understand sounds and emotions. And painting, you've got to understand color palettes and what colors work with each other and which specific mediums work with your art. But sculpting has always been something that's like we've had since the dawn of time, just like artwork, as where the pyramids are sculpted, and like we've built these things that are just out of stone, and it fascinates me that stone can last so long and make huge statements. And to be a sculptor for me is like, it's almost like it's a dying art form, like stained glass and like these things that like what really led us to being a society with our art forms, like our paintings, our architecture. And it's really cool to see artists who still are pushing the barriers of these. So like being able to carve things that stand for a year with sand, that when you told me that blew my mind, because I would assume it would crumble within the moment it lost all moisture. You know what I mean? So like understanding the physics that goes behind it, I think not only proves that you're highly intelligent, but the fact that you can understand how every element works, not just how it's going to come out, but how well things have to be structured and how much you could take off. To me, it's a science versus the art, but it's an art. So it's crazy to me.
Well, I can't say that it all came to me naturally. It's not like I knew all this as I started carving these mediums. I have a plethora of very wonderful mentors who have brought me along, pulled me aside and said, hey, you like doing this, why don't you come and try doing this? So I've had wonderful teachers along the way who have shown me all these different mediums. Sand sculpting, I got into that because I was snow carving in a competition. And then I met somebody there who does sand, so they pulled me in there. Same with stone. or sorry, ice, because I carved stone. Somebody who carves ice pulled me in and said, hey, you'd like to try this. So it's a series of saying yes to a lot of opportunities, and being willing and able to do them as well too has been my secret to success.
And you do competitions globally, not just locally, but like you've gone, like you were telling me before we started on cameras, like Denmark and Finland, and like, how has that experience been to be able to travel the world doing an art form that you love?
That was, well, a dream come true. Absolutely. It's a joy of sculpting, creating art, meeting people, traveling, seeing new things. All of that was basically it's the perfect the perfect job. It really is. It opened my eyes to so many different arts and art forms and people, and allowed me to just learn and grow. Wow.
I can't even imagine. Like like for me as being a musician, I try to relate it to like going on tour to Europe and being able to hit the stage and just like look out at the crowd. But it's not the same when you're, because it's more of it may be a competition, but it's a whole competition of people who are like-minded and want to do the same thing and will help each other. So you're going to like more of a convention than a competition. Yeah. And I think that's the fact that you were even saying that Europe is extremely open to art and art forms like that. Yeah. It'd be really cool to see things like that here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We have 2 huge beaches, and I know we have sandcastle competitions, but to see them on the scale that, like some of the things that are built there, are just mind-blowing.
So that is definitely on my agenda. One of the things I really wanted to do when I moved here was to get a professional quality sand sculpting event happening here. Okay. So where we can bring in sculptors from not just in BC, but from around the world. And we've, as I proved by these sand sculptures here, that the sand here is good, but it's not beach sand. So we basically have to truck it in from the sand pits over on the west bench there. They've got great sand there. I've looked at it already. And so it's a matter of finding a place and getting the sponsorship to help bring artists and get all the materials and supplies ready.
I wonder if I'm a heavy advocate for like the BC government helps a lot with the arts community, and I'm curious if there's a type of grant for coordination of that, so where you can cover the costs and they can do it because it's going to bring in tourism. It's those kind of things that like I love. That's why I like sitting down with like-minded people, because like for you to be like, I want to put this on in the Okanagan, there's not a lot of people like that. There's a lot of people who have ideas but not willing to like make it happen. And that's where I think it's difficult, especially like as artists, to get our art out there. And having a medium that one melts and one that's out of sand, it's probably not the easiest to get your art out there. So how does I can imagine that that's been probably a huge struggle point, is how to get your actual artwork out there besides photos. Because you can't sell sand sculptures, right? Or can you? How would you be able to?
The way to do that is you can use it as a sandvertisement. So basically getting businesses to sponsor their logo on a sand sculpture. That's one way to do it. And that's basically the one that most of these sand artists do.
Okay.
Or you can also sand busk. Basically, there is a spot on Okanagan Beach that has actual good sand that I've sourced out. It's kind of by the marina there. So that's the best sand on the beach.
Purple Basil Beach.
I'm not sure what it's called quite yet.
To the right-hand side of the lakeside and the art gallery?
Yes, to the close to the Japanese gardens, but it's just to the east.
Purple
of that.
Basil, okay. It's funny because, like, I'll be honest, that's not something I would have ever thought about talking to you before, or before talking to you, is the type of sand.
Oh, it's huge, and that's how come you're not seeing sand sculptures like this on Skaha Lake, because this sand here, there's no fine silt in it, there's no clay in it. and it's all very large, round grains. So have you ever tried stacking marbles?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can maybe make a pyramid if you got a
good
support.
base.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, that's
and
a
so
good way to
that's
explain
basically
it.
what you can do with the sand. You can go a little steeper if you got lots of water, but that's pretty much it. Because your particles are round and there's lots of air spaces in between. So if you add crush those up, get them nice and small, or sift it, you can get a finer quality or finer grained, like silt sand. And so that means that there's less air in there, and then when you add the water, there's liquid, elastic tension. You put two wet plate pieces of glass
And they
together
stick.
and they stick,
A suction,
right?
yeah.
And that's basically what happens with your sand. So
Okay.
you got that action happening, and if you get clay in there as well too, like 2 or 3% clay, when that sand does start to dry out, instead of crumbling, it actually hardens.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's basically the clay cliffs. There's a lot of sand in there, but you can see it hardens. So
Yeah.
that's an extreme example of it. That's mostly clay.
Is that why the competitions on Skaha, like the sandcastle competitions on Skaha, they have to keep them to such a, I don't want to say like a smaller scale, but they do?
There's two reasons for that. One, yes, because I've even tried it over here. I brought my big forms and filled them with sand and compacted them on lots of water. Basically, as you're pouring water into it, you want to stir it up and create a pool effect, so the sand kind of self-settles.
Okay.
And then when that water drains, most of the water drains out, you can take your forms off, and then but what happens is the sides fall off, and you're left with a pyramid, basically. And
Okay.
so, yeah.
Yeah, that's like the aspects you wouldn't think about that are very key for that's just sand.
Yeah.
That's not even the other forms,
Yeah.
right? So
there's good sand and bad sand.
yeah,
yes,
and you wouldn't think about that just being a person looking at the art itself, or sandcastles, or sand sculptures, and I think that's where it's nice to like sit and pick somebody's brain who's a master of it, right? Because I mean, you've been doing it for
sand sculpting for 20 years.
yeah, so you've put in your 10,000
Oh, yeah.
hours, you know what I mean? And there's so many lessons that you've learned, and like little things like that, like, oh, maybe there's not enough silica in the sand, and that's why it's not sticking.
Yeah.
Like things like that common people wouldn't think about, right? We're just like, why doesn't the sand work?
Yeah.
But snow is one that really, at least ice, like snow, we all know what we can do with snow, but when you're taking away with ice, I feel like that's nerve-wracking, because it's almost like glass. Like if you make one wrong move, that whole block is gone.
Yes, yeah, pretty much. So with ice, you're not smashing it with a hammer and chisel. You're not beating the heck out of it. So you're using very precise tools. So your chainsaws, you can create very sharp and easy cuts. And you can get angle grinders to plane, and die grinders to create deep channels as well too, and then very sharp chisels. And so all of those, you're slowly taking away. You're not attacking it. So odds of a mistake are limited. You are, of course, susceptible to heat. So ideally, you have to be below zero to carve, right? So I could make an ice sculpture out here right now today, in an hour, and then in 3 hours it'll be gone. Yeah. But it still can be done. Just got to keep it out of the sun. The sun kills ice instantly.
Yeah. And with stone, do you strictly work with one specific type of stone, or do you enjoy working with multiple types?
I started with softer stone, so soapstone, alabasters, and then just learned to get harder and harder as we went. So your granites and basalts and the like. And I'm really enjoying marble right now. It's just really easy to carve just with a hammer and chisel, so I don't need my crazy angle grinders. there's also a diamond chainsaw now, which is, it's a little out of my budget right now, but it's still on my wish
Wow.
list. Yeah, I know.
Wow. That's a dangerous weapon.
I know. And
That's cool,
so
though.
it's basically turning stone into ice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so I just love the stone. It's most like I'll find a rock. It's already got a shape, and so I can either just start carving and see what happens. I can see something there like that's already a giraffe, right? And so if I turn that giraffe and I make it an elephant, it doesn't want to be an elephant. It wants to be a giraffe, so it's not going to work. And then, or conversely, I come up with an idea and then find that stone that matches that in dimensions, right? And then just carve everything away. So yeah, the three main modes of sculpture right there. That's kind of what I work with. I really just enjoy mostly is just playing with the stone, grinding it down, peeling off the layers to see the body of it, just the volume of it, and also the coloration, because every stone is unique in its grains, and you can, once you get to see it, you can start playing with it and bringing things out.
Can you carve with any type of stone?
Technically, yes, not diamonds.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can carve with any type of stone. It's true.
Because I do rock hunting. Like
Okay,
I go rock hunting for fun, just throughout the Okanagan, and I found some really cool pieces of what are they? I guess they're almost like glass, like kind of like
It's obsidian.
not obsidian. Slipping my mind right now. It's a quartz compound.
Yeah,
It's a
okay.
quartz compound, but it's not. It's got multiple colors. This is a really light green, and I almost thought it was aventurine for a while.
Okay, yeah.
But it's agate. Sorry, that's what
Yeah,
it is.
agate,
Just a
yeah.
piece of an agate, and
Yeah,
it's just like this lime green giant piece of agate that I got from Mount Ida
Yeah.
in Salmon Arm.
Yeah.
And there was just a giant landslide, and we were happened to come down 2 days after it, and it was just sitting there. And it's like
Ah.
the beautiful stones that we have in just the Okanagan alone that you can go and rock hunt. I'm just like curious about, like, when you're sourcing stuff, can you just go out into nature and grab it?
Yes. In fact, the stone I'll be working on here is I was just on Vancouver Island for the Parksville sand sculpting competition there, and then I took a couple extra days and drove around to the marble deposits that I know. And found a couple pieces there. Then I also went to Quadra Island and found some marble there as well too. And I'll be working on one of those that I dragged home.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The island has really a total different rock
completely.
collection, and it's mind blowing because it's part of Alaska, I believe, is where it came from. So, like, you see a lot of painted stones out there. I like calling them painted, but they're like conglomerates of different types. But it's just it's mind-blowing what stones are out there, and there's one deposit of a type of stone out there that you can only find out there, and I can't remember what it is at the moment, but always wanted to go and get a piece of it because I have a huge rock collection. I'm like a geek for stone.
So I've been making one of the things I'm doing for bread and butter, basically, is making bird baths and bowls. And so I've been finding local stones. Now, the Okanagan is unique geologically. Lots of volcanic activity here. There is some sedimentary deposits, but not much. So there's not much limestone, not much marble, but a lot of very intricate and interesting granite around. And so I've got some pieces. This one here, the bird bath there, that's found in Okanagan Falls, and I got a couple more over there from Naramata. And just some beautiful eyeballs and conglomerations in there that really make for a wonderful sculpture. Yeah.
Have you ever gone looking up Boucherie?
What's Boucherie?
Mount Boucherie in West Kelowna.
Nope.
So Mount Boucherie is, I want to say, dormant.
Yeah, I haven't been up there yet.
They've got some really wicked silica.
Okay.
So there's what looks like selenite, but it's the opposite shine I can't remember which stone it is, but the selenite, it shines up and down when you look at it,
Yeah.
and this shines side to side.
Okay.
And there's huge veins of it, and then there's amethyst and citrine up there,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so many cool things up there that I'm like,
Wow.
I would love to get you up to the area, because what
Yeah.
they're doing is they're building a development up there, so they're just tearing up the whole land.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So like I might give, after we're done this, and give you a little map where it is, because
Yeah,
like
sure.
it's mind-blowing what you can just walk on the side of the road.
Yeah, yeah.
Just chunks of quartz that are like this, and like it's, people don't see it.
Yeah.
That's rocks on the road. I'm like, that's treasure. Like that is quite physically treasure. Like
Exactly.
amethyst and citrine, like that's magic to me. So to think that you work with that as job, like you get to build these things out of what you find and make magic out of your mind by just slowly carving and taking away and creating these masterpieces.
Now, some stones are harder than others, and so diamonds are a sculptor's best friend. With diamond tools, you can pretty much carve anything but diamond. Like, for example, jade is very hard, very, very hard. So there's jade carvers. You can do it, but it just takes a lot of time and effort and diamond tools, basically. Yeah.
It makes me like, what's mind blowing is how Aboriginal and Indigenous people carved jade
Yeah.
before, like, we even realized that you need to use specific tools. They're just putting it out there and doing it, and that's kind of where, like you were mentioning, a jade artist in Vernon, and it's kind of like it's mind blowing for me, because it is I don't want to say a dying art form, because there are tons of people out there who do it, but like some of the sculptures that you make are not just like elegant pieces you would put on a side table, you know what I mean? But like you see them and you're, how did you do that? Like you can read a stone almost better because you've spent so much time with it. Kind of like I can hear a melody and pick out which rhythms and syncopicities will go with it. But it's to like relate to another artist in a different medium is mind blowing for me, especially when it's one that I absolutely love, because I love stone. So it's, for me, it's like it's a giddy. I get to watch stone get worked with today, so I'm super excited. But to like put yourself in the perspective that you have to go out and like find these locations where certain outcroppings are, and like you're like, oh, I have my areas on the island that I go to for my marble. I'm like, how do you find that? Like, do you take geological maps and like do studies to figure out where specific stone is, or do you go out and just?
There are MinFile maps.
Okay.
So it's called MinFile. It's a governmental agency that has a bunch of files on different mineral deposits.
Okay.
And so there is a specific one for marble, for soapstone, perophyllite, some of the real softer stones. And so they'll show you all the mines. It doesn't necessarily show you the outcroppings, but it shows you where the former mines were.
Okay, so you still got to do some research.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. Also, word of mouth, joining local rock hounding groups as well too. That's a great way to learn. I did run when I was in Vancouver Island. I ran into a rock hounder in this random pit in the middle of nowhere, and they pointed me to a spot where there's some limestone that I could find.
Oh, wow.
That I had never found before. So it's a matter of just going out there and finding like-minded people.
Have you worked with opal before?
I've never worked with opal. Well, I have a small piece of opal.
Because it's really soft.
I've been getting, what's that?
Isn't it soft? Like a softer stone?
Yes, but again, I've never found it. And I've never bought it.
We have some in Vernon.
Okay.
There's
really?
a former mine. I don't know if it's still open, but you could pay like $40 and go in and get tons of it. I can't remember if it's still open, but.
Yeah. And so what are the sizes that you're finding that you would find there?
I'd have to look it up. I never went, but I was trying to do an interview with them a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But I have a buddy who also does a gold panning, and he finds it too.
Yeah.
But he blows glass with the gold that he finds.
Okay. Yeah.
So he does some really cool things. And there's there's a lot of people here who know where they are, but they tend to keep it a secret.
Well,
right?
yeah.
And that's where I'm like, oh, that's part of being the rock hunter. It's nice to hear that people are like, yeah, I'll give you my secret. Because I'm like, what do you mean?
There is that as well too. So Yeah. Also having friends as geologists as friends
Right?
helps a lot.
Yeah, do you find like do you have to do like because it is a form where it's like if you want a specific stone, you're gonna have to either order it in, which is gonna cost you money, or
Yeah.
do you travel a lot just to find specific stones?
Well, I don't go out of my way to travel.
Okay.
I've, for the most part, like for all the alabaster that I work with, and well, I have piles of stones that you'll see over here. I got piles there, piles here, piles there. Some I found, some have been given to me, some I bought. And so there's local stone suppliers that you can get raw rocks that you have to pay per pound.
Yeah.
But if you put in the time and effort to work with that, gets paid back when you sell it, basically. And if you can find really like I'm looking for this alabaster, this peach alabaster that my local supplier got from China, but they don't have it anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, but every piece that I've ever made out of this is sold before I even finish it, technically, right? And so I really want to find it again. And so I have to go to, the only other closest place would be Utah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. That would be able to a similar stone, not quite the same, but at least it's in the same color palette. And so, yeah, I just contacted a quarry there and either going down, picking it up, or having it shipped over.
Is there a big tariffs and stuff on that for stone?
So I don't really know about
Yeah.
tariffs quite yet, because I haven't bought stone in a long
Over the border yet?
over the border
Oh,
yet.
okay.
Yeah. I can see that happening.
It'd be weird.
And that's more of a tariff. It would be basically on the charges if I
Yeah.
leave. Yeah, I'm not
It's
exactly
a weird
sure.
concept having to like because stone it's in specific places. It's not like we have every type of stone that there is in Canada, right?
Yeah.
So it does, I kind of guess, limit what types you can use.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a type that you're like, I want to work with that?
Oh yes.
But you can't get?
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, there's this. Well, you can get it. You can just get it shipped in, but it costs. It costs significantly, especially if you're getting a 100-pound boulder. Just the boulder itself, it's usually $2 a pound, so there's $200 or $300. But shipping is usually double or triple that. For example, I sent two stone bowls to the Cayman Islands. The bowls were about $2,000, and shipping was $4,000.
Yep.
This is it's absolutely ridiculous.
Do you find
But it all depends on your clients, really. Yeah.
Do you find that, like as an artist who lives off of selling art, right?
Yes, more or less. I did. I bought this house recently with my new wife a couple of years ago, and that was only because I got a job. I have been carving stone my whole life, or sculpting, but I've been pretty much single and be able to, just have to take care of myself. So I did start sculpting in the film industry, and so in Vancouver, and so I build giant sets there, which is and join the union, and so I work, which gives me the luxury of being able to carve and do my own thing, so I don't have to. It's not quite work yet, as well, not now. So I'm able to play with it instead of being. It's not a job for me. Yeah.
But
unless I get commissions and such like that.
Yeah, and still to be working in the film industry.
Yeah.
Is,
that's a whole other.
Yeah. How does that go? Is it? What are they like making you build out of? Styrofoam and wood, or are they making you use?
Yeah. So predominantly it's styrofoam.
Okay.
The last project I made was this giant twisted tree.
Cool.
And it was mostly all styrofoam, and then we'll hard coat it and paint it, and then Setdex comes in and dresses it, and then also did a nice big old log for an independent feature It was probably about 5 feet tall and 10 feet long, and a big hollow rotten log, like an ancient forest log.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely beautiful, and you couldn't tell that it wasn't a log. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
That to me is mind blowing. That you can take just a timeline is like I'm 19 and I'm gonna start carving an incense holder.
Yeah.
To years down the road, and I'm building sets.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Right? So those kind of stories are like why I love doing this show, because there's a huge generational gap going on right now with people wanting instant gratification and not understanding that it takes so much hard work to be able to make your dreams a reality.
Yeah.
Whether you want to just do it as a hobby or like, I want to do this full time. It's like my life.
Yeah.
And the one thing that they never realize is sacrifice. How much is sacrifice actually comes in, what you've got to give up to be able to chase your dream.
Yeah.
Like you said, you were single for taking care of yourself, so you could do that.
Yeah.
Now your mentality's changed because you have a partner, and it's like, as we grow, we start to see what really matters, and then if it really truly is what you want to do, you make it your life. And I think that the younger generation really needs to like capture that essence of that hardworking old school mentality that we were all raised with, because it's not there anymore. And we're living in like the perfect time to be able to make a job out of anything and live off of it.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
You just got to go for it. So it's inspiring to see that you went from like, you're still progressing. Like, you're never going to be like satisfied. And I think that's just the artist in you, and the fact that you have to work with your hands, right? It's like, you're always going to find something else to work with. And film sets is like, there's no end in sight for that, because you can just ride that wave if you wanted to forever.
Yes and no. It's having its ups and downs now. So that's one thing that the tariffs are affecting. Absolutely. And also, there's AI has a big influence in that as well too. They can, green screen a set now instead of carving a giant set, and they just put up a screen, and AI does the rest.
Just has 3D printing taken
that
absolutely
over at all? Yeah, so we've got that's a big thing in our film industry right now, and our sculptors are trying to stand up to it. Is they are shipping the projects away from the sculptors and sending them to the CNC shops. And so when they come back, they hire us to put them together and shape them, right? And so the costs are the same, technically.
It just comes with a giant slap in the face for the artist.
But that being said, there's not a lot of places you can make a giant set out of styrofoam. Do you know what I mean? There's lots of ins and outs, and so CNC and 3D printing is affecting a little bit, but not much, because we still got to program it, and then it's still got to be touched up regardless afterwards.
I always wondered that, because
and so with 3D modeling, you can do larger stuff, but it's not quite cost effective yet. If that makes sense.
So it's kind of, you guys are in the middle of like, it's weird. It's cool to see that, or not cool to see, but it's unique to hear that the art industry with painting and AI artwork is still kind of the same thing that's happening in the film industry with the sculptors. And I've always wondered about 3D printing, if they're going to turn it to a large scale where they can just 3D print whole sets and things like that, and then what happens, right? Because they're going to still need you, but they're not letting you do the work. So it's kind of like, here.
Or we are doing the work, but doing the finishing work.
So you become more of a finished carpenter than, I guess, that's a good way to look at it. That's a great way to look at it. Over your career, what's been the most challenging obstacle for you to overcome?
My own self-doubt, for one. Coming up with ideas, that's another one as well too. There's billions of ideas that you can make, and sometimes it's already been done, and so how do I make a mark, kind of thing. So it's just, I've had to fight that a lot, and just how do you come up with ideas? It's quite challenging that way, and so from now I just love to do it. And it doesn't matter what I make. Yes, I know somebody's may have already made something 10 times as beautiful, but I didn't make it. You know what I mean? So that's one of them. Two, trying to get my sculptures out into the market as well too. Sculpture is different than paintings, and not a lot of places have floor space for pedestals or for sculptures. So just even finding a place to display some of my work has always been a challenge as well too.
And being fragile, do you find it difficult to transfer?
Sorry. The stone is fragile and it can break. And I have had situations where the store has broken a piece, or it's even been stolen. A couple places have been broken into.
Oh wow!
Just, here in Penticton, actually.
Oh really?
They broke into a place where I was displaying my stuff, and they took my sculpture and nothing else. They just took the pieces.
At least they appreciated the art, right?
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. So to have your art be the only thing that's taken out of there, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, that's pretty cool. It's like a heist moment. It's like, we need his artwork, it's ours.
It kind of threw me for a loop. Yeah.
I can imagine it's almost like an honor, but at the same time, it's like, where's my art?
Yeah.
I want it back, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's kind of like, I can understand that being a total a piss off at the end of the day. So it's definitely like, so getting it out there. And because I asked that question because I have friends that I've also interviewed over this year who do stone or do metal, and it's too heavy to ship.
Yes.
So it's too heavy for him to bring to places. And then my other friend who does stained glass, it's too fragile to bring out. So it is how do you get out without just having like art walks or things like and especially when
art walks are great. You can do markets as well too, but and that's how I really started. I used to do this White Avenue art walk in Edmonton. Just set up a little stand, had all my sculptures out there. Yes, were fairly fragile, but I got bigger pieces, smaller pieces, and stuck everything down so it didn't blow over and knock over. That was the best way, word of mouth, and just trying to display it out in public wherever you can.
Have you noticed a transition too over the years with going from having to be in the community physically and marketing yourself to having to be able to do it online and not have to talk to people in person as much anymore? Do you think that that's affected or been a deterrent in any way? Or has it been beneficial then that you can expose to more people on a grand scale?
That's a good question. I've never really mastered the art of marketing. And there's so many opportunities, and everybody keeps on telling me that I need to. It's like, Delayne, you just start a show and show them how you carve it. And that's and that I'm like, I can't do that kind of thing, right? Getting over the shyness is going to be that's the hard part. Sorry, going back to your question.
Do you find it difficult to, as artists are mostly introverted?
Yes.
And in a world where it's like, we used to have a community base, where we used to talk like this, to being, you're marketing online, it's almost like an empty promise or a throw out to the universe. Has that been difficult to work with?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, because I find most artists, doesn't matter what type of art we do.
Yeah.
We're all either introverted, self-conscious, and we don't know how to market ourselves or put a price on our art.
Yeah.
And
well said.
When a medium is like yours, when you're doing stone carving, there's almost more hours put into that than there is in a lot of the other forms. Like painting can take a lot of time if you're doing it, but it could also go really quickly. And when you're carving stone, you have to be in the present. You have to be in that moment, and you can't be. Your brain has to be there because you're physically taking things out. Yeah, and that's where I enjoy the sculpting and carving art styles, because it is, with painting and music, you're adding to it, and you can add too much, and you don't know when to stop. But how do you make that decision with stone? Is it, it's like, oh, that's getting too close, it's gonna break, or is it like there's just something subconscious, you're like, that piece is done?
It's a mixture of both. where you can see how fragile you're getting, and if you push it any further, it's just going to break. And so that's definitely a stop. I can't do anything else to this. And then conversely, it's you can go overboard. You can carve too much away and end up shrinking everything and having to start over, kind of thing. I find that it's just intuitive. You just know when you get there, and also what's nice about stone is if you get stuck, you can just put it aside, come back to it 3 years later.
I love the timeline you chose. 3 years later.
And where you're in a completely different mindset, right? And so I've got a plethora of examples out here where I've started a project and then it's just like, no, I can't push this any, my mind's not there. I'm going to start something else. So it's and then once that happens, your brain is fresh and you can push it to wherever you need to.
Yeah, because you have some really intricate pieces, especially the ones just the simple ones I've seen online. I haven't seen what's in the shop, but they're not just like, when you see sculptures that are in like a store and they're all that pre-made sculpture. And you can just tell that there's nothing there.
Yeah.
There's one photo on your Facebook that really captivated me, and it's like this, I don't know what stone it is, but it's almost see-through, and it looks like a female standing, and you can see the light glowing through it, and it's just like, how? Like, that's how I look at that and I go, how did he do that?
Yeah.
And it's to look at a stone and then see that visually and then create it, to me is just, it's mind-blowing. It's more mind-blowing than like the paintings and stuff, because it is, there's like an earthly element to it because it is a stone.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's something special about working with carvings that I've always loved. Like, some of my favorite forms of art are totem poles. Mm-hmm. And that's attractive of just like working with whatever you have. Mm-hmm. And you can't be like too much or picky, and you kind of just got to work with it. And that's you got to be forgiving to yourself and accept that like there's no ego when it comes to creating. You may have a vision for what you want that stone to be, but that stone's not going to let you have that.
Exactly.
The stone's going to be what the stone is.
Exactly, yeah.
So have there been ever points where you've wanted to create a specific thing and it just like you're pulling your hair out because you can't figure it out?
Yep. Oh, absolutely. All the time. Because the stone, they're irregular shapes, right? And so like the example I used earlier, you can't if the stone wants to be an elephant, you can't make it into a giraffe. Mm-hmm. You can't. It wants to be an elephant, and so if you start trying to turn it into a giraffe, it's gonna say no.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that it's got a certain mass. You can't add on. So you have to be very specific in your design of your piece to include to know where your maximum is and to not push that in as you're carving. To just know where your limit is. Mm-hmm. And that's why we're having a conversation. You're slowly pushing in. You're not attacking it. You're not doing broad strokes. Mm-hmm. So you can do broad strokes as you're blocking out. Just get rid of the excess, and then it's just it's fine tuning and slowly pushing until it's where it should be. And if you go too much, then you have to adapt and change. Yeah.
Have you ever done pieces that are like a single stone that are fused together, so like by rings? So like if you were to have one stone and carve that out so that it's one stone but it's still linked.
Yes, I've done stuff like that.
How do you go about that? I've seen it online, and I've always wondered, like, how do you separate it to get it to where it blows my mind.
Yeah.
Because it is like, if you look at it like in the sense of your fingers, so like I can get that, but then it's like, you've got to constantly be moving that, and how are you working with that? Because there's two pieces, so you're like, How do you go about that?
Normally, it's a really thin drill that you're working with, and just kind of carving the
Okay.
outside. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So like a Dremel almost.
Like a Dremel with a dentist tool, and so you're just slowly digging. You're digging away all the
It
excess.
seems so much more complicated. It really does. Like you think about it, and it's just like, it comes down to common sense and understanding of basic knowledge. But when you see it done, it's like mind blowing.
Yeah.
And I don't understand, like to take a rock that you see on the side of the road and to think that that's what it's going to be and doing it, it's magic. Like quite literally magic. I don't think there's other words for what the human brain can process and throw through our hands and we create.
Yeah.
And I think that artists, like I always talk about it on the show, there's like the three people. There's the go-getters, there's the doers, they'll be told what to do, and then there's us, the creatives, who are like, you can't tell us what to do, but we're going to push every barrier there is possible to prove that you can do it. And I think that's what makes art so intricate and like elegant over the years, especially if you look at like old school sculptures. Like you look at the Da Vinci-esque time sculptures and thinking, like there's one specifically where it's a female and she's wearing a piece of clothing and you can see the ripples in it, and it's like,
and the body at the same time.
yeah, like how does one even go about doing that? Like even modern day, how would you go about that?
Yeah, so having a model really helps. So you do your drawings, have a model there. We can. So what I'd like to say, what's been taught to me is painting helps your sculpture, which helps your drawing, which helps your painting. So it's kind of like this circle. So doing all three helps all three. So my drawing helps my sculpture. Painting, you have to work with lights and shadows, and so that helps your brain process the three-dimensionality of stone as well too.
I've never thought of that before, of shadows, and that's a very good point. Sorry, I didn't mean to take over.
No, that's fine. And so I recommend working with all three in order to help improve all three, if that makes sense. I do some painting, not a lot, and then I do some drawing. I'm not good at either, but I do it, and each time I do it, it helps both solidify things in my head and also helps the sculpture grow. So you'd also want to do models. Have a model, do your sketches and drawings, and do a model. So you're doing a scale size, and that'll help.
Represent,
And then you also have to study anatomy,
Right.
knowing where everything is. Or conversely, you can measure your model, the person you're copying. You can also create a small model, and then scale it up using a scaler or a pointing machine.
Okay. There's apps for that and stuff, I bet, nowadays too. Right?
Well, the old people, they had an actual scaler.
Yeah, that's it's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
And like you brought up a really interesting point, which kind of sparked a epiphany for me. Is probably why I don't understand 3D drawing as well, and there's shadows and that depth, because I have a really hard time seeing that even when I'm doing photography. Is understanding shade. Yeah. Because I think I have either I'm colorblind or I'm just like completely void of understanding that. But it's one that is always like, I can't draw 3D, and it's always bugged me. Yeah. So like I think that's what it is, because I'm not looking at the perspective and where the shadows are and stuff like that. So I don't think of those things when I'm drawing, because I'm not a good drawer. I'm good with letters. Yeah. I'm good at letters and making letters look cool, but to take a person and to make it.
Did you do your hat?
No, no. We paid for the artist to do our hat. He's actually out of Indonesia, I believe. The concept of like creating a dimensional image is a lot easier for me to comprehend. And then when it's taking it and turning it into 3D, I kind of get lost. And I think it's because I don't understand depth, shading, and lighting, because it's a weird one. It's a weird concept to understand, because especially as a musician, you're not thinking of that. You're thinking audio and visual of the crowd. So stepping into other mediums and understanding their perspective is a really cool thing for me, because stone is one that is very captivating, because I love the old sculptures that are still there to this day, and they're that skill set's like it's dying. It'd be to take like a challenge on at that level. What would it entail now? So like if you were to take a full body statue and go about it, what would your process be?
First, coming up with the idea, exactly what you're doing. The hardest part is going to be finding your stone.
Sourcing.
Sourcing your stone out. And that's going to be your largest expense as well, too. More often than not, you'll want to go to where the stone is instead of shipping it. And so that's why they all go to Italy. That's where the marble is, and that's where the marble stones or quarries are, and they've got all the equipment to move it and ship it. And so quite a few of my colleagues, they're there now, making their sculptures, because it's way too expensive to ship a block here. That being said, they do ship blocks, but it is very expensive. And so, just even a 6 foot tall, 2 meter tall by a meter stone would be 12 or 14,000 pounds.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably close to 10. Yeah. It's is it a cool concept to be like, I've got friends that are in Italy sculpting their sculptures right now?
Well, it's just it's just a matter of a lot of the stone. How I started working with the harder stones is I joined a carving symposium.
Okay.
And so that's basically sculptors get together and they make dust, and they put on workshops and they teach each other and help each other.
That's so cool.
There's a big one in it just finished, and that was Camp. It used to be called Camp Brotherhood. It's put on by the Pacific Northwest Stone Sculptors Association.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and so I'd highly recommend anybody interested in carving stone to check that out. The local sculptors, Vancouver Island Sculpting Association, is putting on one in Chemainus, sorry, not Chemainus. What's that lake? Cowichan.
Lake Cowichan.
Yeah, Cowichan Lake. And theirs is in September. And that was actually one of my first adventures into carving with a group of people and learning there, was going to the Vancouver Island Stone Carving Symposium when it was on TELUS. And that was mind-blowing. Just being open to all the different tools, all the different styles, all the different talent, and all the different stones. Because they bring suppliers bring stones in, and you can just kid in a candy store.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I would love to go down and see that, because it's like I said, it's mind-blowing to think that sculpting is still a huge thriving community. Not that you think it wouldn't be, but it's definitely like. Do you see are there a lot of younger people picking it up, or do you see that?
Yeah, yes and no. I haven't been to a symposium in a while, but I do see on with the advent of reels and stuff like that, my algorithm shows me all the stone carvers and the sand carvers and such like that. So there is they're out there, but When I started, I felt I was young, and the old timers were just, it's great to have you, and so we definitely. I'm in a space now where I'm definitely more than willing to share my knowledge and help any young ones, but I haven't had that. People haven't really been saying, "Hey, I want to learn that."
I think it's because it's they're not seeing it, right? Like
Yeah.
their algorithms are filled with, I don't even want to imagine, but
Well, they're
You
not
know?
going chip chip. They're going
yeah,
flip flip.
and
Yeah.
that's kind of the thing. It's like, how do we expose a younger generation to see it and be like, wow, I'd love to do that. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, all you got to do is
Yeah.
come hang out.
So I think stuff like this helps, putting it out there into the sphere. Like there is such a thing as stone carving, and it's not as
Yeah.
hard as you think. And that's one of the problems that most artists have, is that they have a set idea of what they want to make.
Mm-hmm.
They get the tools, get the materials, they start carving. First thing they do is fuck up,
Mm-hmm.
and then they say, "No, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I tried, can't do it." And I am a firm believer that you have to put in your 10,000 hours. Not just that. It's just like, don't base everything on your first try.
Yeah.
You know nothing about it, and you're not perfect, and this isn't perfect, and you learn by making errors. And that's the best teachers. You make your errors, try again.
Yeah.
Instead of just putting it down, saying, "No, I can't do it."
Mm-hmm.
So and that's basically how I did it. It's just like, okay, I made a mistake, so I picked up another one and learned from that and tried something different. And that sounds, that's not instantaneous.
Yeah, and that's what they're looking for,
Yeah.
right? They
Yeah.
want that instant
Yeah.
gratification.
Yeah. And so, I can show you how to make really interesting sandcastles very quickly. But I can't, it's going to take me a while to teach you how to do a 7-foot tall pound up.
Yeah.
And do a nice detailed sculpture. It's not gonna be simple. It's not gonna be just like that.
No, and then you've also got to teach them like
Yeah.
the physics behind it and
Yeah.
how much they can actually add to it without wrecking. And
Yeah.
there's so much to it that kind of, I think, is what is intimidating, is because it seems like a lot, but it's just getting that foot in the door, which is why I love the show, because that's the whole point, is to like, how do we take these people who are masters of their art and teach them, or not teach them, but have them be like, this is the step in the door. Like, this is
Yeah.
how you pick up a stone
Yeah.
and go and do it. Because my biggest fear in life right now, having 2 young kids, 2 and 4, is that they're not going to grow up to pick up an art form. You know what I mean? Like, who's to say in 10 years the guitars are even going to be a thing with AI music, right?
Yeah.
So for me, we have to inspire the younger generation to pick up the art forms that have made our cultures what they are. Because if we lose our art forms, we'll never get that back. It's like language, it's like literature. If it's gone, it's gone. And that's a scary thing to me, thinking that we'll lose art down the road if kids aren't picking up instruments or picking up paintbrushes, or if they're just constantly scrolling. It's like, what are they going to create?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like a huge advocate on how do we get the younger generation interested in being artists, so that when they turn 19, they pick up a chisel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that you had a really good point, though. It's just because it's not out there, like it's in specific areas, right? Like, if it was more widely open or accessible, and not just for the community, but for people in general to even understand, I think they'd be more inclined to want to hop on it. Because like, for me, I've always loved ice sculpting. Like, it is such a cool thing to see when it's just tossing everywhere, and then it comes out and it's this angel, and you're like, whoa, what did you just do?
Yeah.
So like, that's mind-blowing to me, to understand that there is it's not mind-blowing, it's inspiring to me to understand that there's still a community, especially within just the Okanagan alone, that is still pushing stoneworking and things like that. We did a interview in our last season with, can't remember her name right now, but she makes jewelry, and she cuts stones and stuff, and it was cool to see a younger female who had joined the lapidary team and is now creating jewelry out of her artwork. And I was just like, that's what we need, more of that. So I'm excited to sit down and watch you get to work, because I think when people get to physically see what goes on, it's more interesting than just seeing the final product, because that's what most people see. It's like the final product. You never see the behind the scenes and the struggles, and it's
Now, I have to warn you, if you are a clean freak, then you do not want to get into sculpting.
Yep. Or art in general.
Art in general. Because art in general. Because it's messy, it's dusty. Sand carving, it's sand in dark places. Ice. It's absolutely freezing. You're in minus 30-degree weather. Especially in competitions. I've been in, say, Winnipeg, in the middle of winter. It's minus 40 with a wind chill, and we're out there at 2 a.m. still carving. Right.
That's nuts. And to think you do it in total opposite spectrums too. So you're going from freezing cold to like the hottest climates to do, and it's so cool to like that's what you've created your life as, is like I get to travel the world and do all this cool stuff. And like that to me is super inspiring, because most people like would have taken the career and like the education and been like, oh, we got to do the 9 to 5, and it's like, no. We don't need to, especially nowadays. That's why it's like this show is the perfect opportunity to expose arts culture to kids, because it is like we have professional gamers, people who play video games for profession. Could you imagine 10 years ago if you would have somebody said that to you? You probably would have laughed at them. You know what I mean? It's like it's a crazy world, and it's like art itself is always evolving, and new art forms too. So I'm curious to see if we can inspire a younger generation to do it. What are they going to end up taking it and running with it, just like you took and run with it, right? So,
well, I did try one of those Oculus things. And then they had like a sculpting program.
Oh, cool.
And so that was great. And so that was really, that's quite eye-opening. And sculpting in 3 dimensions, just is it accurate?
It roughly translates?
It's yes and no. So it's like a mixture. It's additive and subtractive. So you can push and pull, like with a clay module. Like it's not like you're in there carving stone, which would be interesting.
Right.
That'd be a great little program, huh? I'll have to
Do you work with clay too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So making models. I haven't done really any pottery, but it's good for doing maquettes.
Okay.
Yeah, clay and plasticine. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's one that I've wanted to do since we started the show, is to do like pottery. Because I feel like I would sit down and start spinning that wheel and fail so miserably, and it'd be the best episode we had because I'm just watching my jug just fall apart. No, it's like, and that's the thing I think with being a sculptor, you kind of have.
Oh, speaking of, do you want to make your own thing while you're here?
We can if you want to. I'm totally open to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What are we at right now? We're at. Oh yeah, we could wrap that up and go into an hour-long section of watching you get to work.
One of the things I did and still do, I guess, is I put on classes for kids to beginning stone carving, and so I give them small little chunks of soapstone that has a hole drilled in. Okay. And so I give them files, and they can shape it however they want, and some sandpaper to shape it, and then a string that they can wear it. Right.
That's
and
so
so
cool.
they carve it away, then they finish it, and it doesn't matter what it looks like. It can still be a rock with a hole in it, but they just even touching it becomes them and theirs, right? And
I love that.
We can do something.
I'm so open to that. That's super cool. Do you do that? That just made me think of we host music festivals, and we do a lot of we have like workshops and stuff for kids. So like mixing that and having an artist come and do a hands-on carving is just like that. Just sparked a whole other option of what we could do.
I've done it for Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. Done it for a couple of schools, school classes. Did it for a rehab center. They love that.
I can imagine.
And also hated it at the same time. It was a balance. And then also at markets as well too, or festivals where I just have come and do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Have a table set up and files, and they just go to town. It's great.
That's so wicked. Yeah, we can dive into some hands-on physical work and watch what you're doing.
I've got lots of stuff. I got wood I can chainsaw. We got sand we can carve. I got stone we can grind. Clay we can push. I've got styrofoam if you want to try it, but it's
I'm open to anything.
It's a little. Styrofoam's messy.
Yeah.
It really is.
Fair enough.
And I only do that when I need to.
Yeah. The little balls get everywhere.
And they do. Yeah.
No, so what we'll do is I'll end the stream, and we can adjust to the workspace, and then we'll reset the stream and get going again.
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, perfect. We'll be right back.